And he was like, this woman is so ratchet. And I don't understand, how people want to have her on and stuff. And she's like the worst elected official that you can see out there. And I was like, word? Now, what's his name? This Justin Elkhorn of Minnesota, where he trying to create a bill to declare any problem. Anybody might have an issue with Trump, declaring it as having like a mental illness or something.
Yeah. Same shit, different day. If I'm getting paid, then you know I'm on the
Welcome to PTGtv. This is your host, Antonio Hicks. What are we doing in the party? I mean, have we not learned our lesson? And I'm gonna go ahead and just say, no, we sure as hell haven't. You had a whole president who said he would only serve one term if elected.
Facing doubts from within his party and new polling that shows the president falling further behind former President Trump, today candidate Biden telling his team, no one is pushing me out. The president and vice president held a conference call with campaign staff. Officials say he was direct, saying to aides, let me say this as clearly as I possibly can, as simply and straightforward as I can. I am running.
But once he got in and he saw that power, because it was something that he had always strived for, he wanted it for as long as he could have it. And he wasn't going to drop out. It's like if you're finally blessed with that thing that you've been praying for a long time, it's hard for you to give it up in the midst of trying to move on to something else, because you get to where you're comfortable. You think it's something that you didn't manifest, which it could have been. But like I believe in anything, like God have you in there for a season, and it could be a perfect thing, but you just never know. But in the midst of this man said that he would not run again to allow somebody else to come in. It was just to prevent, 45 from getting back into office. Therefore, I get to, but dang it, sometimes you just have to recognize when it's time to to move on, especially if you're at the age where you need to be at home with your grandchildren. Because it's like, why are you continuing to be here and you're withering in place? You got borderline dementia going on to where you can hardly remember anything. And it's like, just go ahead and step down. Like you did what you could do. Just go ahead and step down. And then I've complained about this many a times on my program. People always think I'm just clapping at the Republican people because I really don't want to talk about them because there's nothing to talk about. I mean, they don't serve any purpose. They're not doing anything to help anybody out. And I mean, you can see it, what they're doing right now. They're doing everything they can to dismantle this government. And we talked about this before, which is why I said I'm not getting out doing anything in these streets as far as like general stuff. It's like I said, voter registration is driving things of that nature. But I'm not doing protests because I'm at this place now to where I just got a conversation with somebody to where I was telling them that it's just time for people to learn. Like as much work as a lot of us activists do, it's time for people that don't want to show up and people just think they're just going to coast by and they don't have to get informed to be active. It's just time for them to actually learn that lesson and bite that bullet and see how painful it's going to be for them to let them know that this does involve them too. And people don't realize that. People just think, oh, if I just go to work, then I don't have to worry about politics. And I'm just like, no, you have to be involved. Because I'm like, look at what this man is doing. I'm like, he's attacking black people at every given level that he can think of. And I mean, doing stuff from historical things that has nothing to do with, DEI didn't even exist. Affirmative action didn't even exist in the moments they were doing some of this stuff in history. But nevertheless, it's not stopping him from doing what he want to do to remove them off of government websites and just to take their names down in history as is. And I mean, look at how a lot of people got played during the whole campaign last year and how MAGA was able to build up its young base, which is what I talk about as far as like communication and stuff goes. So it's because we do a poor job of communicating. Some of us don't get on, these politicians don't get online and they don't do any go live. I get sometimes they want to have they should have town halls because they're supposed to have town halls. They don't have town halls, especially these right-wing people. But I get why they're not doing it because people come and clapping at them. But Democrats should be out having town halls. They should be going live to talk about what they're doing while they're in office. These are things that I have talked about in the past before too. These are things I talked about while I'm actually in the streets. I'm like, why are y'all not communicating to people through social media? And then some of them do, but it's like they're not really talking. They're like reading off of a script outside of like the AOC, the Jasmine Crockett's and people of that nature that actually go online or they go get on people's talk shows and the podcasts and stuff and actually communicate to people. And that's what I do appreciate about them because they're coming back and they're trying to do what they can to get on a level of a younger generation. And it's like when you look at what's out there right now, you have so many right-wing podcasts and shows that they now have a young army that they can have behind them And, they're not doing enough as far as when it comes to the left to actually boost out their message. And you don't even have to be the left. Just somebody, I don't want to say borderline conservative, just a moderate to say that, what's going on right now is just to the extreme. And it's like you look at like some of the top 10 shows that we have right now, as far as the Republican side goes, it's like all the way to the far right. You got Joe Rogan at 39.9 million people that listens to his show. You got Ben Shapiro at 25 million. You got Jordan Peterson at 23 million. You got Russell Brand at 22.5 million. Theo Vaughn, Charlie Kirk. All these people have million. Candace Owens is trash for the community. I mean, and Dr. Phil, you got people have millions and millions of followers and subscribers and stuff that's tuning into the program that's being brainwashed. And I mean, if you work as a public servant, you should be posting content on a regular basis or have somebody on your staff posting the content for you at least once or twice a month. Hell, it doesn't even matter. It don't even have to be that long. Just go live for like 30 minutes to talk about what you're doing and tell people about, some of the things that you're trying to push for and get people to co-sign with it. But no, they're too old and they're disconnected and don't want to understand what the technology is and what people are looking for, which is why they always want to talk down about. Like Nancy Pelosi said to herself when people are protesting against what's taking place in Israel and Palestine, that just people are stupid or they're not old enough to understand what's going on, or they're paid out Russian shields. And it's like, word?
Ceasefire. The Democrats want the
word. And then again, you can't use the age as a factor in it. There's this one lady online that streams. Her name is Shirley Curry. Shirley Curry. She has over 1.3 million subscribers. And she gets online with her gaming headset on, her microphone, and she's playing a game, talking to people. And she is 88 years old.
Well, good morning, grandkids. I have met up with some of the guys in the college, and I have traveled here to Sarthal.
So you can't even say that the technology you just unfamiliar with technology and it's just too complicated. You got to go get your grandpa. I don't care who you got to get to show you how to do it. There's another lady, Tactical Grandma. Tactical Grandma goes live almost every single day playing Call of Duty. And she's just out there just kicking these kids behinds, and these kids can't even believe it that this nana is out there putting in that work on them.
Stand to you, soldier. Stay sharp.
So I'm like, I can't even use the excuse anymore that the age is a factor when it comes to communication and it comes to messaging. Because the only thing you got to do is just turn on the camera and go live, and you can just talk about anything and everything. First of all, it humanizes you to let people realize that, yeah, you're an elected official, but you still just like everybody else. You got issues that you got to deal with. I mean, because all of them do. I don't care how rich you are. We all have human issues that we have to deal with. We have to deal with sickness. We have to deal with family members being sick or things happening to them. We have to deal with kids going down the wrong path, or even family members going down the wrong path. We all have the human experience, but they act like they don't. And their base, feeds off into that stuff. But, and I mean, you have to, and this is looking at the numbers of what the right is getting. And it's not to say that we don't have a lot on the left. We do, but it's not as much as the right. I mean, because you have the Breakfast Club got 11.4 million listeners. Young Turks got 12 million subscribers. And you have the Midas Touch, which is one of the most popular ones at 6.4. You got Brian Tyler Cohen's at 3.6 million people. So we do have our platforms. Trevor Noah, he has 21.2 million people on his platform. But I think a lot of those are trolls too, because a lot of people get on there. They might be subscribers, but they're on there to talk trash about him and like, y'all lefties doing this and y'all lefties doing that. And we can't rely on the mainstream media anymore because they let the Republicans get on and they don't clap back against them. They let them say whatever the hell they want to say. They don't really tear them down. They don't go off into them. Some of them don't. And they allow them to do what they want to do on their platform for the sake of views or ratings. And so it was like you can't even deal with them anymore. You have to actually come to people like myself to talk about common issues, or Young Turks, or because I'm always talking about myself, or the Midas Touch, or some Brian Tyler Cohen's, or David Pakman, one of the other people I listen to every now and then. And it's like we have to do better when it comes to communication. We have to get on some of these smaller platforms because these smaller platforms do have followers. Besides getting on because a lot of these people, like if you're watching TYT, people on TYT already been into politics. There is nobody new that you can reach out to on TYT. So you have to go to up and coming streamers or podcasters to talk to them because a lot of people they're talking to probably aren't into heavy into politics and they're just tuning in to see what their message is going to be. And it'll help build them up. So, and I say that to myself too, because I'm still a small person. I don't have the 100,000s of subscribers on my stuff. I mean, I'm barely pulling in 200, 300 listeners a month on my own podcast itself. And I've interviewed elected officials on this show before. So it's like I am saying that, you do have to come talk to some of us sometimes. It don't even have to be me, but I'm saying you do have to come talk to some of us to help boost our platforms up so we can actually flood out the market with communications and you can get it from different people's perspectives. Which is no different than, like I said, than what the Republicans are doing, because not every single one of these people that talk about politics specifically talk about politics. Some of them are streamers and they have other stuff on their platform. But when they get into them politics, and I mean, them the ones that are most effective, because when you have the youth on there watching them for other stuff like red pill stuff and or they're gaming and stuff too, or they're doing like, Kasinet where he has like different people come on and they're playing games. But once they do get down to the messaging for who they're supporting politically, that gets into the head of the youth that's out there. So it's like typically Republican stuff, they're going to get Republicans or conservatives going to look at their platform and that's who they're going to go with. But when you got the people that's like variety streamers, but they're still hard right Republicans, that's a way for them to brainwash these kids and have them believe in certain things. Because a lot of these kids don't even know what the hell this stuff is they talk. I mean, just like the episode I published, the 20 versus 1, and it was versus the one progressive, and they just didn't know what the hell I was talking about. It didn't make any sense to them, and it's gotten so bad to now to where the people we do have that get onto these platforms, they want to talk down about them. Like you got Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett has been getting on every show that she can get on, and it's one guy I saw on X, and he was trying to talk down to her, talking about this guy, this girl, and this is brother on top of it too. That's what really pissed me off. Like this ain't even no bot. This is actual brother. He had a huge platform, and he was like, "This woman is so ratchet, and I don't understand how people be want to have her on stuff, and she's like the worst elected official that you can see out there." And I was like, "Word, she's the worst. She's not Marjorie Taylor Greene." With the Jewish space lasers?
Marjorie Taylor Greene is very known for a very famous post in 2018 where she blamed the California fires on a Jewish space laser gun.
Now, you did, didn't you? Because I've read that post. I went and got it, and I read it. November 17, 2018, you posted a long thing on Facebook that was just complete gobbledygook.
And all the other lunacy stuff that she doing, chasing people down from school shootings and stuff, not her. I mean, you letting her get out. You gonna label this sister as the worst one, and she just Southern. Not Lauren Boebert, who getting her chest filled up inside of a theater. Not her. Not what's his name? What's his name down in Matt Gates down in Florida, where he out, soliciting. Well, he was having flying out young girls, but Jasmine Crockett is the worst. And then you get somebody like this Justin Elkhorn of Minnesota, where he's trying to create a bill to declare any problem. Anybody that might have an issue with Trump, declaring it as having like a mental illness or something. And homeboy himself, this just got locked up for soliciting to a minor. So I'm like, so we have to get better about our echo chamber and about making sure that we get messaging out and we spread it across a different group of people. We can't keep going back to the same people. I mean, it helps because it helps bring attention to the person's platform, but we still got to get it out so we can flood the streets with our own messaging and stuff. We have to do better with our messaging when it comes to speaking on key issues, what we're doing to fight against stuff, and what we're doing to help out the average people, because right now it's terrible. And then when you get people like Elon Musk, he out doing what he's doing on his platform. And I mean, he's trying to tear down this country with no oversight whatsoever. They've gotten rid of the oversight that would challenge him. All of it. And then now that his stuff is being destroyed, he want to sit here and cry, talking about he don't understand why people are so angry with Tesla and why they want to come in and destroy his stuff. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? So that's it. I just want to hop on and just, address that, because it's interesting to me how the older people, even like I said, even with them, they would do better if they don't want to go live themselves, which I still say they should. They can go jump on some of these younger people's podcasts and talk to them, or people like me. I'm not young. I'm in my 40s. Jump on our podcast and talk to some of us to talk about some key issues, and then just be real about stuff. Like sit down, have a drink if you drink. If you don't, sit down over some soda, some coffee, or whatever, some tea, and let's just have a conversation. Let's just talk about real issues. Don't be just pop your collar up and let's just talk about some key issues. But no, man, they don't do it. And until they do that, we're going to keep falling behind. Because, you got Chuck Schumer approving stuff. And next thing you know, you see him in the White House kissing up the dog on 47. And it's like he need to go ahead and sit his behind down, too, because he's old as hell. He's just old. And it's time for him to go ahead and be replaced out. I think AOC is the voice of the party now. And they need to go ahead and put her in that position. You might disagree with me, but I'm like, who else would you replace her with? Nancy Pelosi need to be sitting down somewhere. It is time for her to sit down. This older generation needs to sit down, but they don't want to because, again, the same thing as Biden. They don't want to give up their power. They don't want to give up their power at all. So, as anything, thank y'all for tuning into this episode. Y'all be safe out there. Again, I always say, if you get involved some kind of way, so I helped somebody out today because it was something we need to have a way to be it out and mobilize ourselves. And I was like, well, we do. It's called Mobilize. What is the actual address itself? Mobilize.us. And it shows, anytime we have protests coming up or events to where people are getting out, like say, getting in front of the Tesla plants, waving up signs and stuff. So you can get involved that kind of way if you're looking for it and you actually want to get out there and you want to do it. I encourage you to use that. You can find all the groups that are putting together these protests or demonstrations or sit-ins or whatever it is. It's still a demonstration. You can find it on mobilize.us until somebody actually comes up with an app to where you can have it on your device, and which I think Mobilize, it doesn't matter because you still pull up a website on your smartphone. So thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all get out, be informed, get involved. Make sure you take your L's every day. Live for today because tomorrow's not promised. Laugh about the things that you have no control over, and lead with your heart, because I honestly believe if you lead with your heart, God will always bless you. And make sure y'all subscribe to this platform. If you like the content, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you forward to other people, because like I said, we have to start building up these smaller platforms like mine to where we can be on the same level as like the Joe Rogan. I know it's going to take a while to get the Joe Rogan status, but still, but we can get up to those levels to where we have people following us too, so we can get different perspectives on people that's actually in, like people like me that's actually in the streets, on top of those that's giving commentary and breaking down bills and having people come onto their show breaking down bills that's being put in place that's actually hurting the American people rather than actually helping them out. So y'all be active. Love y'all. And again, like it, share it, comment. Let's have a discussion about it below. Y'all be safe out there. Peace.
I'ma move. They see I ate it up like food. She came.